the last chapter of JJK, I want to go over just my thoughts on the whole end of the series. Now that we've gotten all the final chapters, since they revealed there was only going to be 5 chapters left, I wanted to sort of just have a conversation with you guys about what I thought throughout those final chapters, as well as also considering, you know, how everybody else seems to feel about it. I haven't seen any like social media outbursts about the ending of JJK. Overall, I assume not that big of a thing. But I am interested in knowing what you guys think overall. I've only seen middle finger memes. That's funny. Hey, what's good, Zod? I thought it was a fine ending. Fair, fair. Horrible ass ending. Really, Jake? I'm interested in seeing why. I like how it expanded upon Sukuna's character. He was boring as fuck before. You really think Sukuna was boring as fuck? That's interesting. I think he's very intriguing as a character. Yeah, you could definitely say it felt a bit rushed. I could see why somebody would say that. But it's not bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's fair to say that, like, this ending was even remotely bad. I'm sure that if you're one of those people who likes characters dying because it really puts up the stakes of, you know, different fights, villains, and situations. Ooh, let me, right here. Okay. It's interesting to think about, like, if you're one of those people, I would assume that you may not have liked it because Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi are all still alive and they're all well. Though, obviously, they're not... they're, like, 99% of them is still present, to be fair. Hey, what's up, Easy Evil? He had no motives and was pretty basic to me. I hope... There's a video 6, if you haven't watched it yet. I hope, if you haven't, you give it a watch. It's called... What was the title of it? You Don't Understand Sukuna. Ryomen Sukuna. If you haven't seen that video, I would highly recommend it. If you guys want, we could watch it in the chat. All in all, I think he's a very intriguing villain because it's not so much of an idea of a guy without motives that's just sort of running the fade with everybody because he can. It's more so, at least to me, the idea of a guy who has been deemed the strongest throughout history. His name has only he and one other person have been named throughout the series. Kenjaku and himself, just because of how vile or evil they are. He is someone who is deemed the strongest sorcerer in history. And he is, in all sense, almost a sociopath. A high-functioning sociopath because he understands the confines of the power system. And his strength is almost... It almost makes sense. You would expect somebody who is the strongest in the verse to understand the power system better than anyone else and what it can do. And to almost abuse it in a sense. At least to me, that makes sense. And in that regard, I think that Sukuna really... He is the best example of what it means to be the strongest inside of a shonen verse. More so than Madara, Aizen, Yhwach. He is, to me, the perfect example of just the embodiment of strength in a verse, not because of hacks, but because of knowledge and mastery. You have a character like, let's say, Zeno, who is the most powerful being in Dragon Ball, at least as far as we're meant to believe. Let me say up until, like, let's say the manga or the anime, I don't know superheroes, narrative all that well, but you have a character like Zeno who is the strongest simply because he is the most powerful being. It's not that he's the smartest, it's not that he's the most combative or the highest intelligence. It's not that he's the most experienced fighter. It's just that he is so fucking powerful, he can close his hand and an entire universe just gets wiped out. I then think to myself, okay, well, let's go through some of the others. Yhwach. By the way, I'll check out chat in a second. I'm just sort of going into like a whole... I wouldn't call it a rant, just more of like just like a deep dive. Excuse me. I would then say that, like, let's take another villain, for example, Yuhabak, who is an extremely powerful being within the verse, and you could definitely argue he is the single most powerful being, though he gained that strength by absorbing others, and then he sort of just has a very busted ability. The Almighty is busted. I don't think anyone can really deny it's not. He sort of had to get Deus Ex Machina. You have someone like Madara or even Kaguya, who Madara had all the... I would say Madara had all the aspects of a great villain. He had the build-up, he had the appearance, he had the design, just the theming behind him, the abilities, the skills. He seems like an extremely powerful and just proper final villain, but then I'll say this. It's not that Kishimoto couldn't figure out a way to kill him, because Naruto and Sasuke were beating his ass. Relook the chapters without any bias, without thinking he's like the strongest. Just look at the chapter for what it is. They dealt with everything he fucking did to them. And he never showed what a three-eyed Madara could do. A three-eyed six-paths Madara could do. However, to then say, well, they beat Kaguya would mean, you know, someone stronger than Madara. They could have beaten Madara anyway. The point is, I don't have this, by the way, just to make sure, I don't have this hate boner for Madara. I just reached a point in my life where I'm like, he's a fantastic villain. He's just not this insane, omnipotent being everybody else seems to think he is. Kishimoto could have very well have written Naruto and Sasuke to beat that motherfucker. Anyway, so the point I'm getting to is that with him, he got written off. With Kaguya, she got inserted too late. It just cool. She has busted hacks. She doesn't have to really think about anything, but she just fell flat for a lot of other reasons. Shigaraki ended up being I wasn't the final villain. It was the guy that was pulling the strings all along. I was just a victim in all of this. He took over my body, sure. Sukuna, to me, is the guy that, for many, I can see why they would deem him as boring, but to me, he seems someone who is so interesting because in a verse where the power system is inherent negativity, it is inherent negative emotions, awful thoughts, just being the more vile you are, the more powerful you can be, the more downright evil you can be in a power system designed around negativity. He who is willing to just do whatever it takes to reach the pinnacle and just befitting of his own nature, and then defending that status as someone who is so powerful, others seem to challenge him, whether it is because they view him as a threat or they simply want to challenge their own strength. He simply defends that title. And to me, that's extremely interesting. It's not so much he is a guy with no motivation, therefore he's just doing things because, oh, fuck it, he feels like it. It's more so he's someone that has earned the strength to do whatever it is that they want. Think of it as a being who is so strong, he can do essentially what it is that he wants without any repercussion, and no one has ever been able to force him to talk his shit. Even in the end, he admits it. He lost. Uraume says Sukuna only lost because he was a reincarnated type. But in reality, Sukuna himself says, no, I just lost. That's the end of it. I wouldn't say he was so much humbled, more so his strength met a limit. He's no longer... He could still be considered the strongest if you want him to, but the simple fact is, he's lost. He's no longer the #1 top dog. And I think that's an interesting way of finishing it off. I feel more satisfied with this ending for a villain, for a main villain of an entire story. I feel like Sukuna is, in my opinion, one of the best villains in all of Shonen. Better than Madara, better than fucking Aizen, better than Yuhabak. He feels so earned. Having him be defeated feels so earned. He doesn't have to come back stronger. He doesn't have to have some immortality shit to keep him around. He doesn't have to get written off by anyone. He is simply a guy who was at the peak of the Powerverse. He was inherently negative because of it. And once he lost, no excuses. You know what? Maybe I could do things another way. He believed everything that he did up until the moment when he lost, where he said, you know what, maybe the way I've been living wasn't the right way. But hey, you know what? I'm fine with that. Other people I'm perfectly fine with them not liking him or thinking he fell flat. It's all cool. I think I view to see it in a more positive light. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, all I'm trying to end this off with is that Sukuna, to me at least, is the most dignified villain. He has received the most dignified ending to a villain I have ever seen in all of Shonen. Main villain-wise, fantastic job. No matter what happened, he never complained about what anybody else was doing. He simply wondered, what did you guys do to get so strong? When he loses, he simply says, oh well, maybe I could try things different next time. Simple fact is, I lost. No bullshit, no plot twist, nothing crazy. Simple, straight. And I think that's what I like about JJK. It's direct with you. It tells you if this person's not going to come back. And if it doesn't say it, it'll probably go with the random, yeah, they might do. But that's just me. Ooh. Key. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what you guys were saying. Okay, wow, we got a lot of comments already. Crazy. It expanded upon Sukuna. He was boring before. Cool. Ooh, let me bring that back. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter for now. Sukuna ending with Mahito was cool. I agree. He had no motives. He was pretty basic. That's fair. No, but his comeback still makes me feel icky. That's fine. The only reason is I liked it because it was... Okay, that's fair. Honestly, shonen mangas don't have the best ending, so JJK isn't that bad in retrospect. It's not bad. It is. It just tells you how it ends. It has an ending. It has a beginning. It's simple. It's not a very big story. I feel like a lot of times people want to compare shonens to the big three. It's always about the big three in some way, right? Well, JJK's a really good story. Oh yeah, did you know it was actually inspired by Bleach or Hunter x Hunter or whatever? Like, no. Fuck all that. Fuck Hunter x Hunter. Fuck Bleach. Fuck One Piece. Fuck Naruto and all that sense. Just judge JJK for what it is. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be anything insane. It doesn't have to tell a very telling philosophical tale. It's simply telling you curses are bad. Humans are trying to say, basically try to keep the balance of shit. This kid ate a finger. Shit went bad. Big mistake. Series of redemptions. It's a story in a lot of ways. It's a story of what's the right word? Naive goodwill. It's a story about like Yuji's naive goodwill and wanting to help other people, and in trying to do so, he basically causes a big shit show of a mistake, and by the end he learns, you fuck up, pick up yourself, and do better. It's really that simple. You could keep sulking in the mistake that you fucking made. You could have made a massive mistake. You could have done something wrong. Alright, you know what? That's fine. Pick yourself back up and try to do good now. I like that kind of message. The ending was nice. I like how Sukuna just admitted he lost and Mahito started tweaking over it. Yeah, because Mahito is a stupid little bitch and Sukuna is the best villain we've got, bro. I hate Mahito. As a villain, I hate him. Like, as a character, I fucking hate him, but he is a very good villain in terms of, like, he just wants to egg you on and, like, really fucking break you as a person. What's up, guys? I hope everybody's had a good day. I like the idea Sukuna, once he lost, he finally able to let go of his curse and finally move on with his servant. That's what I'm saying, man. Nobara coming back made JJK a 6 out of 10 for me. That's, you know what, I could see why, but there's technically, you know, like the foreshadowing of it, of like, she's not dead, but I can't promise anything. I think it's equally fitting Mahito is the only character who never grows or changes and is stuck the same until he figures out something. True, exactly, bro. People see Sukuna as this all-evil person with nothing but childish thoughts to overthrow the humans, but he is more of a Vegeta type of character who never got the taste of defeat. Exactly. He is as if Vegeta never went through the humbling experience of being defeated by Earthlings. He was an elite warrior. He never saw defeat. Yada yada yada. Blah 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 blah. Good guy because he lost. Eventually became a good guy because he lost, which is a good thing, by the way. What did you think of Sukuna's final conversation with Mahito? It was it basically, okay, I'll say this, it definitely confirmed Sukuna as my favorite villain of all time, because as frustrated as he could have been, as I mentioned earlier, as frustrated as you could have seen him in the moments where he was getting punched like crazy with black flashes by Yuji, or where Yuji landed his domain expansion and he said he was gonna murder everybody that Yuji loves. You could see genuine anger in Sukuna's expression, but by the time that we see him finally losing, by the time we see him finally dead, just ready to move on, he says, nah bro, I lost. He feels, in a sense, so mature to me, because everybody has a breaking point. Every single villain has some kind of a breaking point. Kaguya was a crazy bitch, especially when you saw her like freeze Naruto and Sasuke and like just start crying. Aizen lost his shit when Kisuke Urahara came out of nowhere with that, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't like that seal that was gonna put him away or whatever. Ichigo didn't beat him after all that Getsuga Tencho bullshit. That just felt so bad for me. I'm not gonna lie, like in retrospect. Madara backstabbed Shigaraki. Oh, I was a victim all along. Like, no, this is just a guy. He became the strongest because of reasons. He was just meant to be. Talked his shit. And then when he finally lost, he says, you know what, bro? Fuck it. No reason even being like petty about it. God, bro, he just feels like, he really does feel like, he gives me more of a kingly presence than anybody else. Because ultimately, he's just real about it. He's just very real and object about it. I don't see value in anyone else because they're all weaker than me. They're all so much weaker and squishier, and they all keep comparing themselves to one another. Like what he said to Jogo. You compare your strength to others, therefore you cannot grow. I don't get why you guys do that. You're just like a human. I don't see myself as any of you because I don't know what that means. I've always been the best, and I'm always gonna be the best. So why even bother trying to sympathize with you? That's why Jogo couldn't get stronger, but Mahito didn't give a fuck. Mahito kept seeing what improvements he could make and how he could become a further curse. If Mahito was given maybe a couple of more years, give him 10 years of just fucking with people, eating humans, and just doing shit, I'm sure he could have caught up to Sukuna. I'm just using 10 years as a numerical term. It could be like any amount of time. You could even say like a year. Mahito grew really fast, grew really strong really quickly.